Hi guys, come on in. Welcome, welcome. Sorry about my voice. I'm kind of sick and I lost my voice. Welcome to the weekly wrap up, Politicking with T. So, I just started this YouTube channel and it's going to be a channel dealing with politics in a hood perspective. Um, my main goal for this channel basically was for me to have an open and safe space for everybody else to come in and voice their opinions, learn about different politics, have just healthy discussions about what's going on in the world today because it's a lot going on. And not for nothing, this election right now is very important. So this is why I decided to make this channel. So um, every week I'm gonna do a weekly wrap up, which this is, and just talk about all the things that happen in the news, all the things dealing with the economy and inflation, the stuff going on with schools, the NYPD raids, just like stuff like that. And every week um, from now until the election, and then after the election is over and we know who our president will be, I'll be doing this every single week. So this week, we're going to deal with four topics. The first topic is the school shootings that's been going on across the country last week. Wednesday in Maryland, we all saw on the news that a young man named Colt Gray, 14 years old, yes, I said 14, entered into his school and committed to unalive four people and injure nine more. Um, the FBI was looking into this boy since last year, which is crazy to me because if y'all was already looking into him, how did he end up, having even being allowed, or I don't even know, not even being allowed. How didn't y'all investigate it or um, question him about this already? So apparently in 2013, the FBI had already investigated this little boy because he was online making posts about school pow pows and trying to learn more about stuff and looking up artillery and how to make certain things. And on Wednesday, he ends up going into school and doing what he did. Now, what I wanted to really talk about is they have charged him as an adult, which they should, but they also charged his father. Now, his father is being charged with murder and manslaughter. So they're giving the father the same charges they're giving him. Now, my honest opinion on that is I feel, yes, they're right. Um, you knew your son was being investigated by the FBI. That was known. You have firearms in the home, and your son had access to them. And from allegedly, from what the news is saying, is that you gave your son access to these weapons. Um, do I feel that parents should be responsible for everything that their kids do? No, no, we shouldn't because sometimes as a parent, you don't know what your kids are doing. But when it comes down to certain things like this, yes, because it's more of a learned behavior than a simple mistake or a kid being a kid. You have to really look at what's going on in the home to even make a child think that it's okay to go do something like that, or basically if it's okay to even do something like that. Because let's keep it a buck. You have to be a little bit mentally off for you to really think that that's the way to solve a problem by harming other people. So that's that to me is like I feel like the father should get charged, and if the mother knew about it, she should get charged too. Um, two students and two teachers were unalive. RIP and my condolences out to them. And to all the people that were injured, I'm sending prayers, and hopefully, you guys recover fast and be 100% again. Um, Yesterday, there was also another shooting in Maryland in a high school. It was between a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. Started off as a fight and ended up into the 16-year-old being unalived, fighting in the boys' bathroom. Now, I know it's called hood politics with T, and I know I'm gonna give it to you straight. So I'm gonna let you know, as a '80s baby, these kids nowadays they don't believe in fighting. When I was growing up, we used to fight. You don't run and go pick up a gun and unalive somebody because you have a problem. No, you're gonna go knock on somebody's door, meet up in the park, even like how they were fighting in the bathroom. But what's the problem with this generation is they can't stand losing. Like, it's okay, I lost, so now I have to unalive you. And for what? Um, to me, it just shows that our kids are very desensitized. Um, they're not really, I would say our children are very sensitive, and mentally they need a lot of love and attention. Um, a lot of them don't really care about their lives or the lives of other people. And, you could blame it on a lot of things. You could blame it on the parents. You could blame it on social media. You could blame it on the movies. You could blame it on everything. But the fact of the matter is, our children are very much desensitized to a lot of things. And values are like out the window nowadays, as far as, respecting elders and doing like certain little things that, even though our generation we were kind of messed up, we kind of led the way for them. We crawled so they could run, so to say, with this attitude. But um, I'm just, I'm really worried about our children. I have 4 children. I have 2 adult children. Well, not adults. I have 2 young adults, and I have a 10-year-old. And I'm worried about my kids because they really don't care. It's like some of them push and want to be, the best that they can be. But I live in the hood, and I see a lot of these kids, and I see how, you know, being outside, jumping off that porch, running with their friends, and even with the girls, like their guys are more important than their family. And we wasn't raised like that. I mean, we went through our little phases. We all, you know, go through things as children. Children are children. But I really think that we really need to look and figure out what's wrong with this generation, because if they're not, if they don't respect their own lives, they're not going to respect anybody else's lives. And then we'll be stuck with a generation of sociopaths. you know, um, I really, this is like a touchy subject because, like I said, I have 3 children. I have 2 sons and a daughter, and I'm really scared for my teenage son. It's so many things out there that can trigger these children. And my son lost a friend at an early age. The neighborhood that we live in, even the reputation of some of these children's parents influence the way that they move and stuff like that. So, what's really going on with our kids is what we need to find out. Now, I'm not racist, but I do have to point out that most of these school shootings are committed by Caucasian children. Um, our children, we have shootouts in the street. I'm not saying that it's worse, or to me, it's equally. Shooting somebody in a park and missing and hitting a little kid is just as bad as running into a school and doing it. So, what is going on? Like, what is it? Because we have the same plight. It's just different circumstances and situations. So, with that, yeah, that's all I really needed to say about that. When I bring up the panel, if anybody has anything they would like to add about the two school shootings or um, any shootings that had happened within the last couple of years, because we've been through a couple of horrific incidents concerning children in elementary, junior, and high school, you know. So at the end, we will have a panel and you guys will be able to come up and express your opinion about that. Um, Now, the second topic that I wanted to discuss is I live in New York. Um, and there's been some real sketchy things going on with our government over here. So, um, last week, our governor, Kathy Holcomb's ex aide, her name is Lou Song. She was arrested by the FBI after they raided her home, her and her husband, um, with suspicion of her being, I guess, a spy for the Chinese government. On the heels of that, we have about 6 other high ranking government officials, including MTA commissioner and the DOE commissioner, which is the Department of Education, also connected to um, Governor Holcomb's aide's case. All right, so my thing is, I'm not into naming names and stuff like that. Like, you guys can go research. Everything is researchable that I'm saying. This is more of an opinion based than I guess like a news fact finding type thing. The NYPD commissioner is also under investigation, which is hilarious. Being that, like I said, I live in New York. I've lived there my whole life, and we've everybody that lives here always felt like the NYPD was corrupt. So for him to be a part of this investigation is very much funny to me. So now let me tell you guys about our governor. So Kathy Holcomb, I think this is her third term, her third year as governor. She is a Democrat. She is very left, I guess, very liberal. She's the reason why Diddy has all of these cases against him because she's the one that took the statute of limitations off of, the R word. And that's what enabled all of these women to, file these suits against Diddy. Um, for for the most part, she hasn't really been doing anything that's worth mentioning that's gonna better New York. Our prices are high. The cost of living here is super duper high. The prices at the grocery store, everything. There's nothing that she's really done that I can say that, oh, well, she's been a good governor or I would vote for her again, even though I don't vote. I told you guys that, but I wouldn't like recommend her to anybody to vote for because I haven't seen with my own eyes like anything good she has done for New York. Um, with that, I will go to our mayor Eric Adams now. I have a lot to say about him. So Eric Adams was born and raised in Jamaica, Queens. He actually lived only a block away from my house, grew up a block away from where I live at. If you guys don't know, a little short back history on Eric Adams, he has a very extensive career in the police force. He was a cop for maybe 20, I think like 28 years before he even ran for mayor and became our mayor. He came in and everything that we worked for so hard to, I guess, get abolished during the pandemic when Black Lives Matter was going on and all these Black people were being unalived by the police. All the rights and laws that we fought to get rid of here, like stop and frisk and no knock warrants and everything, when he came back in, he implemented all of this back into routine. Um, he also allowed, okay, disclaimer before I say this, I am an immigrant. I am. I'm not a full American citizen. I am a citizen by law because I have my citizenship, but I was not born here. So me saying that, I'm going to say this. New York is a sanctuary city. Um, he allowed more than 50,000 immigrants into our state and city. Um, it's it's nothing wrong with helping people when they're in need. When you're in need and your government is being um, shitty to you, and you have no rights and no liberties, and you feel like you have to escape and go somewhere else to get those rights and liberties, by all means, come on ahead. My problem is that they're coming into our neighborhoods, into um, lower class and low middle class neighborhoods in New York. They're taking over everything. They're taking over all the hotels. They're taking over all the shelters, all the little jobs that our children should be able to get when they get out of high school, or for some of you, they're taking over all of that. And not only that, they're giving them stipends of money and food stamps and benefits every month. Now, like I said, I'm an immigrant. I have, no racist bone in my body. I'm mixed with a lot of different races on both sides of my family. So I'm not trying to make this a race thing. I just feel like as an immigrant to have to come here and go through the process to become a citizen, it's very unfair that these people could come in, get IDs, get to work, getting $5,000 on a debit card every month, thousands of dollars in food stamps every month. And it's off of my tax dollars. But if I want food stamps, even though the economy is real messed up right now and eggs are almost $8 for 12 eggs, I can't get it because my husband makes too much money in their eyes. Even with healthcare, some of us have to pay co-pays and, pay annual fees on our healthcare just so we can, maintain our health, because, you have to work, you have to be healthy to work and take care of these kids and do what you need to do. And they're coming here and getting free everything, everything. Um, like I said, I don't mind. I just feel like it should be a process. Just like I had to go through a process, and a lot of my family members and a lot of my friends that I have had to go through a process. They should go through a process. Helping them out is one thing, but when it comes to you kind of letting them jump over your lower and lower middle class citizens that are paying these taxes to help you help them, that's when it becomes a problem, because it's not only Black neighborhoods that they're piling them into, they're piling them into Hispanic neighborhoods and low income white neighborhoods, and they're taking away from all of us. So with that situation, that's my stance. Like I said, after the last topic, we will do a panel. So if anybody has anything to say about that, you are more than welcome to come up and talk about it. Now, our third subject. Benjamin Crump, which is a civil rights attorney. You guys probably know him from um, all of the trials. I don't even really like saying everybody's name because, Breonna Taylor, everybody that unfortunately lost their their lives during those 2 years that we went through a couple of years ago. And he's a civil rights lawyer. He, helps these people get the civil cases done, get their money, sue these police precincts and these states for wrongful death on our people. He's executive producing a mini movie. The mini movie is called How to Sue the Klan. Now, um, I'm not really a fan of Benjamin Crump like that. I respect that man. I respect the fact that, he stands up for us and he does things certain policies that I guess he endorses. I don't respect, but I will give credit where credit is due. I saw the trailer. Like I said, the movie is called How to Sue the Klan, Klan. You guys could go check out the trailer. He also has on his Instagram page the days and states, the states and the days that the movie will premiere in each state. This movie is a mini doc about 5 Black women in 1982 that actually really sued the KKK and won. They were awarded $500,000, which in 1982 was a lot of money. Um, and it was a big civil trial, a very big civil trial. It set a precedent for some of the laws that are in place today as far as our civil rights and concerning hate groups and things like that. I looked up what the actual story is. I'm not going to spoil it. If you guys want to know, you go ahead, Google it. You will find it. It's an actual story. These 5 brave Black women stood up against the Klan in in a southern, very racist state, and they won. So kudos to Ben Crump for this because they're trying to erase our history. They don't want us to know the horrific things that was done to us in the past. And for my audience that's not, Black, this is not a jab to you. Everybody deserves to know their history. Everybody deserves to know where they come from. Everybody deserves to know all their heroes and all the battles that they fought and won to get where they are today. So, on that note, you guys go check that out. You can check out Ben Crump on his Instagram, also on YouTube. There's also a couple of other sites that are promoting this mini doc. And yeah, maybe we'll do a watch party when I figure out how to do it. We maybe do a little watch party because it's about a 45-minute little mini doc movie. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. Now, down to what everybody came for. So the presidential debate is scheduled for Tuesday at 8. Um, this this election has been crazy from the jump, from who the candidates are to the coup the Democrats pulled on Joe Biden, um, to the controversy on is Kamala really Black, to Trump getting indicted again, to Democrats switching sides and endorsing other parties. So I want to really talk about what you guys are feeling about this. Like, I know a lot of people they deal with their politics with emotions, um, which is great, because emotions do dictate a lot of things that go on in your life. But I want to have like a serious conversation on what do we really think the world needs. And it's 4 topics. Obviously, inflation, the state of our economy is crazy. Another thing would be immigration, which I touched on a little bit earlier. Another thing would be is all these wars that's going on, the Ukraine war, the war between Israel and Pakistan, and now we also have to include Iraq and Iran into this Israel and Pakistan war because they have now aligned with Pakistan. Um, and climate change. What do we think about the policies that the candidates have for climate change? So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. And you guys can come up and we can have a discussion on how you guys feel about this debate. Any questions that you feel that, you know, they should ask the candidates. Anything you feel, any policies you feel either candidate needs to elaborate on. Um, do you feel like Cornel West should be invited to this debate too, being that he is the Green Party's candidate? I know a lot of you guys probably haven't been hearing a lot about Cornel West running, but yes, he is running. Um, let's just talk. Let's have a powwow. Let's see what everybody wants, wants to know, wants to hear, or how you're feeling about this, because this, to me, this is one of the most important elections, I think, moving forward, not only for us but for the world, because America is like, we're we're the stars of the world. A lot of other countries try to model, a lot of things towards how we are. So, come on up, let's talk. If you guys are shy, don't be shy. I won't bite. This will be like non-problematic. I don't want any arguing. We can all agree to disagree if anything gets heated. And just come up and voice your opinions, and we could bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other, because that's what I wanted this channel to be about anyway. I'm not really worried about, you know, you guys' views on anything, because like I said, I'm bipartisan. So I probably agree and disagree with both sides on certain things. So it is a free, safe space for you to come up and say whatever you want to say. So the link is in the chat. Um, while we're waiting for somebody to come up, um, let's talk about the border right now. So everybody knows that we have a very bad border problem. Besides the immigration thing, we're going to talk about the fentanyl coming over the border, and the abductions of all these children and stuff. So I propose a question: do you guys think we really need wall, especially now that Vice President Harris has said that she's in favor of a wall also, which Trump has said, when he became president, he got that bill, they started building the wall and stuff, and everybody felt he was crazy, and he was going out of pocket with it, and he was just being Trump. But now that we see all these gangs coming in, and there's rumors that the Venezuelan government is letting out all of their prisoners out of the jails, and they're coming over here, and we're seeing on news these gangs taking over apartment buildings. It's been a lot of grape incidents and abductions. I know one just happened in New York maybe 2 weeks ago. A little girl was abducted in front of a grocery store and was raped. Come to find out, yes, it was somebody that came in, and fortunately for I guess I wouldn't even say fortunately. Well, unfortunately for him, he tried to do it the next day, try to kidnap somebody else, and the people in the neighborhood saw him, and they chased him, and unfortunately he ended up unaliving himself, crashing into someone, which I say is karma, but that's what happened. So I see in Colorado these gangs are taking over people's apartment buildings, and messing with people's lives and disrupting people's lives. So what do we think about this? um what should the next sitting president do about this? How do we still be a country of wanting to um, wanting to have that stigma of being free and being a country where you could come and live the American dream, but we're letting in all these people that's disrupting the American dream. So that's another question I want to pose, and I want to say hi to Wilson. Hi, Wilson.
Hey, Miss Poppington, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm only coming up here to support you, girl. You know I don't like coming up normally. I'm gonna do this for you and Henny, but that's about it.
Well, I thank you so much. So, out of the four things that I've brought up so far, what are your thoughts? What do you have to say?
Well, you're gonna have to refresh me because I was trying to get in on the live, so I don't really know the four
Okay,
that you were
so
talking about.
I brought up the school, the things that's going on in the schools. I
Yeah,
was talking about the parents being charged for the same exact charges that their son has. And I
yeah.
was asking, do we think that that's, something that should happen in situations like this?
Okay, so I can speak on that. In my opinion, I think that it's fair for them to be charged because especially in the last case because he was already aware that there was an issue and he literally gave that man, that boy, the gun. Like it was just like, here you go, very irresponsible. He was already being investigated before about it, so it wasn't like they didn't know, you know what I mean? But regardless of that situation, I just think that the parents are responsible for minors, and if the child makes, some type of bad decision such as that, and it shows that they were neglectful in any way, then yeah, they should be responsible for it.
I totally agree. And today I also, you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, I also put in my Insta story that a young black mother was charged because her son found her gun and took it to school with him.
Mhm.
Um, with that, I feel like yes, you should be charged. You know, you have firearms in the house. It should be in somewhere safe where your children cannot get to it at all. Um,
Yes.
there's too many times where there's accidents and people end up losing one of their children over another child accidentally, you know, unaliving them because they
Right.
found the parent's firearm. So I totally agree with that. I feel like in certain situations, yes, parent is should be held accountable, especially with this situation because the FBI investigated your child a year ago.
Right. Exactly.
So how didn't
Exactly.
you know? How didn't you know what your child was up to or what your child was doing?
Well, I think there's
Um,
more to it than that as well, because I don't know if you saw that the aunt had come out and had spoke on it, and the way she made it seem, I mean, I don't know the backstory at all, but she made it seem like there was a lot going on in that household, and that the father was probably, at fault for a lot of things that were going on with his mental
I
health. So
definitely feel it was learned behavior, and
yeah.
I definitely feel like in some kind of way that boy must have suffered some kind of abuse, whether it was mental or
Mm-hmm.
physical in the house.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. What makes a child at 14 feel that doing something like that is his last resort? You know?
Exactly. And I have a child who's 13, and I just put myself in the shoes of the parents and also my son and his mental state. And if you're at the point where the FBI is investigating you for making threats, that that was already over the edge, right? But like at that point a year ago, why wasn't he in some type of therapy? Why weren't there more
Why did you give him
countermeasures put
some
in place? You know what I'm
exactly?
saying? I mean, if it's not going to be up to the parent, to me, that's neglectful. If you see your child has a mental issue and you're not taking care of that issue, then it's neglect. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it costs four people their lives. So
Yes.
sad.
Unfortunately, two students and two teachers and nine other people were
Right.
injured by it. Somebody that is part of our Henny gang. Their cousin was involved in that. I'm not going to say
Yep.
their name, but I'm
Right.
going to send prayers out because people really, like I was saying about kids nowadays, it's like we're desensitized and nobody really cares until it hits home. And I don't feel like the world should be like that anymore because if you don't have any empathy or sympathy, you shouldn't expect anybody to have empathy or sympathy when it comes down to you and yours, you know? So
Right.
you should give out what you want and what what you expect other people to give into you.
Right.
So have you heard about the other school incident that
The
happened
one in the
yesterday?
bathroom where they
Yeah,
had yeah, I heard about that. That's sad. I
yeah.
mean,
Now,
look, all of this is just crazy to me because when I was growing up, we didn't have all that. We used our hands, we would fight, and then we would see the person the next day and we would, what's up, Like it was no big deal. These kids carrying around guns. First of all, how a 16-year-old, I think it was 16, how he get a gun? That's like, how is it so easy for these people to just get guns and bring them onto the campus? I know here in Florida where I live, they're starting to do metal detectors in high schools, and
yeah,
I really think it should be at the middle school level as well, just based on what we've been seeing.
yeah,
But it's
because
like
they're getting
mind
younger and
boggling.
younger. Go ahead, Miss Wilson. Go ahead.
No,
What you
I
was
was just gonna say it's mind boggling to me how these kids get these guns at 15, 16 years old. Like, I mean, it's crazy to me.
Well, I was saying that that incident to me is these kids are like I don't know. It's they don't know how to take a loss. You know,
Yeah.
um, like I said, I live in New York. We've been had metal detectors in our high schools forever, even
Mm-hmm.
in some of our movie theaters and stuff because of incidents that's have happened. Um, but I remember growing up, like I said earlier, we used to fight. If we had a problem with somebody, it was a fight. If you lost the fight, you keep fighting. If I gotta fight you every day till I win, I'm gonna fight you every day till I win. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
I lost, so now I'm gonna take your life.
Right.
Um, it's it's sad because it's like these kids are so emotionally scarred, I would say, and desensitized that they have no real care for their life or anybody else's at this
And I
point.
was just gonna say desensitized. That's a perfect word for it because I think that since we have social media platform, it's easy to say things to a person online versus in person. And I
Yes,
know a lot of times people say things that they would never say. And we see it with Krishan, right? Like people saying some jacked up stuff that
talking
they would
about
never
baby
say in her
crazy.
face,
Yeah.
So
Well, social media, I blame that a lot because, personally, I know I have a friend that her daughter ended up unaliving herself because of something that happened on social media. And
mm.
what parents don't realize is that at that age, the influence on your kids, especially teenagers, you
Yes.
are influenced, but a bigger influence is their friends,
Yep.
social media, and outside.
Mm-hmm.
So as a parent, it's kind of hard to combat three things. You're fighting three things. You're trying to instill these values in these kids and, raise these kids right. And even like, for instance, the violence in Chicago and how some people blame the kids' mothers. It's kind of hard to do that when, as a parent and as an ex-child, I would say that your parent could tell you a million times, this is not good for you. Don't do this. This is going to end up happening to you. And you, in your brain, in your immature, childish brain, will still let something or someone else or yourself influence you to do the exact thing your parents told you not to. And
Right.
God forbid it's something really detrimental. It turns out when everything ends, we get blamed for it, even though we're trying. There's a lot of
External
single mothers.
factors. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of single mothers. There's a lot of kids that grow up without a male influence in their life. It's kids that grow up with both parent households that jump off the porch and do the most craziest things, and you look like, oh my God, you wasn't raised like that. Like I remember you doing sports, and your parents was always with you, and you always had and stuff, and then you see them and they're teenagers and they're in the streets. So
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I
to a certain point, it can't be the parents anymore. You know what I mean? Like once you become of age where you can make your own decisions, you
yeah,
know.
that's why I said parents should be charged for certain situations.
Yes, exactly,
Certain
exactly.
situations.
Right.
So
Not all
yeah, not
scenarios.
all of them. Um, I just want, I don't know, like we need a Whitney Houston moment. Like I believe the children are the future or something, because I don't know what, like I'm scared for my kids, but I don't have any grandkids yet. But I'm more scared for them because it's like,
Well, you ain't the only one. And I
you
think
know,
that's a reason why, there are less children being born because people don't want to have kids in this world. They just don't. And I mean, there's probably a lot of factors involved with that, but it's scary to have a child in this world and not have any control. And this country is out of control. And the social media companies are not doing due diligence to protect children from being bullied. We've seen that,
yes,
in other
report
situations.
and they
Like,
don't take it down. Yeah,
yeah, and these kids don't feel like they have any other recourse. So if it's just that easy to go pick up a gun and do what they have to do to take care of the situation in their mind, that's an easy solution. It's not the right solution. We know that, but in their mind, like, okay, I'm gonna go handle this and make my problem go away. But that's not the right action. We know that. But
yeah,
I just feel like they just see an easy way out.
yeah. And I also feel like jail has been glorified a little too much
Mm-hmm.
in these children's minds. And even I can't even say that it's, they'll blame it on music and entertainment. No, it's social media, because they see these inmates doing TikToks and having parties and fun in jail on cell phones and video calls and stuff like that. So, and then I was saying too, I live in the hood, so a lot of kids, they take their parents, I guess, rep that they have in the hood, and it kind
Mm-hmm.
of transfers over to their kids. So if you know your father is a no nonsense, nobody gonna mess with him. He did X, Y, and Z back in the day. As a boy, I would be guessing that your son would feel like that's my father, so that's too. You can't touch me because my father has this kind of rep, and it's more like glorified. Oh, back in the days, your father, da da da. Or even with women, um, back in the days, your mother used to fight all the time and da 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 da. And it's like, instead of being a warning, it's more of a glorification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree
Um,
with that.
you also just brought up something that I wanted to talk about, which is a big thing that this election, a big conversation with this election. So you just said now, this is why it's a lot of less children being born. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about this whole issue with women's choice. Um, how do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on the whole Roe v. Wade getting overturned? The term limits that they want to put on, people having abortions, and do you feel do you feel that it should be a stopping point, like all around cutoff point of how many weeks you should be to have one?
Well, I'm definitely pro women's choice. And I think it's really a conversation for the doctor and the woman who's dealing with that. I don't feel like government should have any say so in what women are doing with their bodies. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my, like, if something were to happen to me and I had a situation that I would have to deal with, to me, the only people that should be involved is me and the doctor. And that's just how I feel.
I
Government don't have no place in that conversation.
I feel that way too. My stance on it is that, as a woman, it is my choice to do what I want with my body. My only thing is that I am pro life too. So I'm like, middle of the spectrum. I feel after a certain amount of weeks, if you have to do like invasive surgery basically to get rid of the child, unless it's a circumstance where, there's like a grape or assault, or you've been going to the GYN, and sometimes women be pregnant for months and don't even know.
Yeah.
Then, I feel like, yeah, that could be, something that can break that rule. But I do feel like once a child is developing in you and have a heartbeat and legs and eyes and stuff, I don't feel like that's a appropriate thing to do. To me, that's more of that's not a choice. At that point, you had the choice. That's on you for procrastinating. Like I said, in certain situations where people are scared or you don't know, but as a grown, free thinking, decision making woman, you should make a decision like that in a timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that to some degree, but it really is a decision between you and your doctor at the end of the day, right? Like, I would hope that the doctors would have some type of policy or some type of process in place where if it's inhumane and there's no legitimate reason to terminate the pregnancy, especially if, like you said, they have limbs, a heart, the whole thing,
Yeah.
and they've waited to a certain point, like that, that's tough because you know, that's
Yeah,
cruel.
it's like
You know
that.
what I'm
That's
saying?
when it's
It's
kind of
cruel.
like,
It's
you
cruel.
know,
But I
yeah,
don't think the government should have anything to
no,
do with
the
it.
only part of it that the government should have is that they should. I think that that the like Medicaid should be able to pay for like IVF
Right.
and those procedures for women. I really feel like that's the only government I guess involvement they should have. I feel like it should be free because that's part of a big part of women's health,
Right.
especially because it's a lot of women now that need the IVF treatments,
Right.
and you know, people sometimes it's because you don't have the money why you have to wait that long to go get what you need to get done. So if the government steps in on that line and makes it okay, it's accessible because we got you guys. It's free. Go ahead. We have certain clinics, we have certain doctors that we can put you with, just like they do when you
Yeah.
in your
Hmm.
primary and your GYN.
Right.
Then I think that's really the only involvement that the government should have at all when it comes down to women's rights.
Right. Because that's like telling a man, well, we're going to have to give you a vasectomy so we can prevent these problems. Like, they don't do anything for men. Why is
Exactly.
it always trying to control us and what we're doing?
Well, this is this the country we live in is ran by men. Like
Hmm.
we know that. We went through women's rights in the 70s. Women had
Yeah.
to fight for their rights. We know that back in the days, even in slavery, it wasn't just black women slaves that were mistreated by the master. It was also his wife. And the reason why we call wife beaters is because of them.
Hmm.
And it is what it is. Like this country is not like other countries. A lot of other countries, they already had a couple of women presidents and women leaders and stuff. This country is very misogynistic
Hmm.
in their thinking, which I hope would change. Which her being the first woman president wouldn't, I would applaud that because we need representation. They always,
Agree.
especially women, they always say um, that they want our vote, but do we really have representation?
Right. We
Until
don't.
until she became vice president. Well, Hillary first did it, with Barack.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like at least give it a chance. Now, do I feel like she is the right woman for the job? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I'm very conflicted on that issue. Um, but I would love to see that one day. Some of the world's most thriving countries have been led by women. So I would love to see what a woman could do as president. So how do you feel about her mm, potentially becoming the first woman president? And on top of that, do you feel like she would be the first black woman president? Or are you on the side of she's not, I wouldn't even say black, she's not a foundational American. So her being the first black president, woman president, it would only be helping a certain class of people, not the other class.
So, okay, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think y'all know because I've been in your circle for a minute, but I'm white, but I was raised with black people since I was 13 years old. My son is mixed, half black, half white.
Hmm.
My opinion is, if you got an ounce of black in you, people gonna see you as black regardless.
One drop
So,
through.
you know what I'm saying? They're gonna see you as that, just like they see in my son looks black. You would never really know he's really mixed because he has more dark skin.
He
But
has no features.
first
Okay.
of all, Kamala is very qualified. And I don't understand why there's this narrative that she's not, because she's really qualified for the job. I mean, when you compare the two, and I'm not even going to get into this, is why I was kind of hesitant to come on, because when I start talking about the
Wilson,
other guy, I
Wilson,
don't do
it's
well.
fine. You can have your opinion.
I just don't do well with him.
You can have your
But
opinion. It's me and you.
okay.
Whatever's going on in the chat, don't pay attention to
Uh,
it because I told you I
uh,
want y'all to feel safe. You should
yeah,
be able to say what
because
you want to
I
say
just,
without anybody coming at you about what you're saying. It's your opinion, and everybody's
yeah.
entitled to it. So go ahead,
Well,
speak
that's
freely.
awesome. So yes, so I mean, when it comes to him, like, I'm gonna be real with you. I've never really been into politics. I'm still not really into politics. I'm really learning as I go. But what got me into it was him, because I know y'all were talking the other night. I was on the call and I was listening where I think it was Miss Pammy said that she didn't really feel like Trump was racist, but I don't see it like that. I live in Florida, right where he's at, and I see all of his supporters on each side of the street picketing and doing all this stuff, and I know who those people are and where they live, and I've encountered them, and they're all the same in my opinion, and they're
Okay.
very racist. I don't think, with his history of his father not wanting to rent to black people, his history of not wanting the blacks to be seen in his casino when certain people were there, his black employees, he would put them in the back. Like, all of that shit, excuse my language, all of that stuff is racist. So
It's
to
okay.
tell me that he's not racist, I don't believe that, because his actions speak louder than words. He is. I
Okay.
mean, it's like these older white people that are around here that be like, they real nice to everybody. Oh, here you go, honey, but they racist because they'll call you an N word or whatever. They don't even know. They don't know they're being racist, and I think he
It's built
knows what
into
he
them.
is, but he's in
Yeah, it's
denial.
built into them. Well, I was the one that was saying it wasn't Miss Pammy. I said that I
Oh,
didn't think he was
okay,
that racist.
yeah,
Um,
but I
but
do.
see it, but it's the difference of location. That's why I
Mm,
said everybody's opinion is valid because everybody goes through different experiences
yeah.
from where they
Hmm.
look at, certain things. So you're in the South. Florida is
Yes.
very
Unfortunately, I am.
predominantly, yeah, white. I live in a predominantly mixed city.
Yeah. And
So
and it's a difference, trust me, because they go
it's
around with those
definitely so in New
Confederate
York
flags and
there's
everything
black
else.
Trump supporters, there's Spanish Trump supporters, there's Chinese, Asian. In New York, we're different. Like, of course, it's racism here. We deal with
Yeah.
more of it with our police than
Right.
anything, but it's different circles. That's why I said I wanted this to be a place where we could all talk because you could see my point and I could see yours because I
Right.
see your point. If I lived in a place like that, yeah, I would have that opinion because of the environment and the people in my environment.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah, it's definitely uncomfortable. I'm gonna tell you right now,
yeah.
because they're very overwhelming. They're loud. They're obnoxious. They'll get in your
Mhm.
face. They're at your window. Like, I'm at the street at the stop sign, and they at your window, with the flag in your face and everything else. And it's like it's just too much. And just me
Yeah.
knowing his history, and I'm not going to say where I work, but where I work, even before he was president, there was just this known thing with him that he was a con man, and that he would rip people off. He wouldn't pay people when they did work for him. He would not pay them. So just from a character alone, he does not, to me, he's not fit to be the president. And on top of all the felonies and everything else he's got, why are we okay with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we okay with that? It's like the more he does, the more we just passively just are okay with it. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. I agree with a lot of things that you have just said about Trump. Yes, his grandfather was, Grand Wizard in the KKK. His father was a part of redlining, which redlining,
Hmm.
if you don't know in the chat, that means that certain communities in certain areas would not let Black people rent or try to buy homes in the communities.
Right. Exactly.
Um, he has have a lot of things come out about him and dealing with his Black employees and things like that. So Wilson is definitely right when she's saying all of this about him. Um, I okay. I think that as far as for the economy, because he is a businessman, even though he has a lot of bankruptcies, he had a lot of failed businesses, but he has a lot of successful businesses too.
And
I
that
think he
fraudulent
can,
school.
well, I think he can help us. That's just my opinion. Um,
Yeah. I
with
mean, I
Kamala,
think a lot of people want to vote for him for that, but
yeah,
I
well, a
just
lot of
don't
people
see
in
it.
New York, for people in New York, I'm going to tell you, it's mostly because of the economy. His business savvy, things like that. New Yorkers are more concerned about inflation and the economy more than and immigration, being that we are a sanctuary state. But for the most
Hmm.
part, it's basically the economy and the inflation, because New York is a hub. It's like the
Yeah.
mecca of everything. We have the stock market here.
Hmm.
All the trade, the gold, everything is here. So they're more leaning towards him because of that. And it's understandable. The 1% loves him because of that same reason. Lower class doesn't. Now, the other day when we were talking, Miss Pammy was saying that because of her circumstance during the pandemic, she hated him. Now, I can say a personal experience, my circumstance during the pandemic, Trump came in the clutch. Everybody said, oh, those wasn't his checks. He signed, he was the last person to say it was okay and signed it. I don't care who fought for it, whatever. If he didn't sign it, we wouldn't have got him. He was the one that was like, okay, give them, you know, the unemployment, suspend the light and gas bills, do this, do that. And I wasn't an essential worker, so I got laid off. So at the time of the pandemic, when he was president, yes, the money did come in clutch. Oh, I don't know what happened with Miss Amy. She dropped off. If you want to come back up, Miss Amy, you can, or if anybody else. Um, the money did come in the clutch. Now, should you vote for somebody just because they gave you money? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not, because as quick as he did that, um, we were going through Black Lives Matter and defund the police and all this, and he was not on our side. He wanted, I'm sorry, I called you Miss Pam Wilson. Um,
That's okay.
he was on the police side. So at that time, it was a good and bad with him. Now, with Kamala, I know her history of her being a prosecutor. I respect it. It's hard to become a prosecutor of a whole state. The woman worked really hard. What I don't respect is the policies that she put in place as far as arresting mostly women, mostly single women. And I'm not even going to say Black, because there's been a lot of Spanish and Caucasian women that came out that said that they were a part of that law for their children not going to school. Um, there's also, the fact that she did keep a lot of prisoners in jail longer just to get free work off of them. These are all facts, and I'm really into politics, so I watch things, so I can't deny certain things that I hear. On the subject, I know this is about to be touchy, but on the subject on is she Black? I agree with you, Wilson. If you have one shred of Black in you, you're Black, you know. But when it comes down to knowing a Black experience or to help people in that experience, if you wasn't raised that way around those people or around that experience, you won't really truly understand or know. And off of me saying that, I will say this: Kamala is West Indian like me. Um, her mother's from India and her father is Jamaican. Her
Right.
father is a Jamaican West Indian, not an African West Indian, not Black. Now,
Right.
like I said, my father's father was from India. Straight in our culture, we call them coolie. Straight coolie man from India. My grandmother, dark skinned, very African looking, strong, little short, evil little lady. Um, and he married her, and his family disowned him. In Guyana, it's a lot of Indians and it's a lot of blacks that mix intermingle. You know, they have um, mixed children and everything, but there's also a lot of families disowning people for marrying into the other race. Like I said before, she was raised in an Indian household. Um, I was raised in a Caribbean household, which is Black Caribbean and Indian Caribbean. So I woke up to John D music and I know the meaning of John D flags. And my daughter had to wear a black dot on her forehead until she was about 12. And we believe in bad eye and all these things. And, I wear sari sometimes when I go to certain family members' weddings and things like that. So I know, you know, I have an idea. I wouldn't say I know because I wasn't raised in a full Indian household, but I have an idea of how she was raised. But then I
Yeah.
was also raised here. Um, I'm Americanized. I came in when I was 4. So I was also raised here with my half black, half Indian grandmother and my fully black Caribbean grandfather. Um, Between them and learning the culture and going to school and interacting with people here, I know the Black experience. I can literally say that I know the Black American experience, even though I'm not a foundational Black American or a freedman, ADOS, whatever you want to call it. I know the experience because and I was raised in that environment my whole life. That's my only concern. Um, they're pushing her as the first Black woman president. And it's kind of disheartening to some of the people I talk to that are fully Black American because they feel like she does not know the Black experience. She doesn't understand the Black experience. She won't be able to help them with the problems that they have that's conducive to the Black experience. I see a lot of people jumped
So
off. I knew this was going to be like
so
controversial.
but my thing is what makes Trump any more well equipped?
He's not.
Exactly. So
He's not.
that shouldn't be
And
a concession as to whether or not you're going to vote for her or not. I
but
mean,
this
she
is
went
what
to
I'm saying.
HBCUs. I
And this,
mean,
and this
you
is
know,
that was going to be my point.
right.
That shouldn't be what people just vote for her for. That was
Mm-hmm.
going to be my point because both of the candidates do not have a Black experience. They won't be able
Exactly.
to. Now, I do follow politics. I know Dr. Carnell West. He is running also,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a full American FBA Black man, and a lot of people are not supporting him in this race. And it's just kind of crazy. I just don't like that they're putting like her race is so much of an issue or so much not even an issue, a conversation. You know, the gender, I love it because we never had a woman president. We never did. But to put the race card into it, I just feel like it's distracting from the fact of what the American people really need and want to
But
talk
who
about.
but who is putting that narrative up? Is it their campaign or is it just people in general once they knew she was running?
Well, I think it's both sides of the campaigns. It's both
Because I
sides.
ain't really see nobody from the
I
campaign
feel
really
like
advertising it. Even when she
well,
was asked that question, remember, she didn't even want to
yeah,
address that.
with her, it's not. It's more like underhanded. Like,
Hmm.
um, she had that rally the other day. A lot of people were mad, saying she had the black scent, the washing collard greens in the bathtub.
I'm
Um,
sorry, but that whole thing, can we just stop and talk about that? Because where I grew up, we did that. Like today I'm not doing it, but when I was growing up and we were younger, we would put our greens wherever we could. Some people told me they and I, Belglade, they do different things from Belglade, but I was even told somebody was doing putting their greens in the washer, in the clothes laundry washer. So it's not unheard of, and these people are just tripping me out because they're like, "What? Now that's crazy. We're not doing that." I'm like, "People do that down here in the South. I know that." So it's
this is
like,
what and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's to me, it's both sides. I don't even think race should have been even a part of it.
nope.
Um, when Obama came through, that was like we needed him.
Hmm.
Bush was terrible. Him and his daddy, back to back. We just got hit with so much terrible things. 9/11.
Hmm.
Um, that's when all the police killings actually really started
Right.
with Bush. So when Barack came, it was like, oh my God, yes. Like this is different. This is gonna be different. Um, and it was like a man versus a man. So, the race thing, I felt like, it played a really major part. Like that had to play a major
But
part
to
in that.
me, Trump made that race as a big part because he kept challenging his American citizenship, and it started the whole narrative, about black,
Yeah.
white, where you from, like all of that was unnecessary. But that's
But I
where we were
think back
at.
then, more people, more people weren't so more people weren't so I guess invested. Like it was he looks black. He has a wide nose, big forehead. His kids are black, his wife is black. There's no reason for you to, try to say he's not black. With her, it's just I don't know what it is, but it's just like an ongoing thing. And instead of them speaking on policy and what are you going to do in your first 100 days, the things that the American people really want to hear about, it's been about her race, or
And
it's being played like race against, like that's being used as a tool to
because we have
basically
gotten away from really looking at a person's qualifications. And I
exactly.
blame that on Trump for a big part of it because he want to call names. He want to do all it because he can't articulate a full sentence of what he's really going to do. And he just want to call people names and this and that. Like it's ridiculous.
I
And I
will
think
say
we've gotten away from the actual
yes.
policies, you
That's how
know?
I feel. And I will say Trump is a true New Yorker. If anybody in the chat is from New York, you already know we are very um, animated. Um, we're very rude, not on purpose. We don't mean to be that way. You really don't. It's just the environment that we live in. Like when you're built New York tough, that's what it is. I'm not gonna deny. I feel Trump is a sexist.
Absolutely.
Um, but I don't know. I just feel like the whole race thing, even with the sexist thing, like to me, it's about what the policies are. What are you planning on doing? How are you going to fix this? Am I going to have to pay $10 for eggs in 6 months? Like that's more of my concern than who's black or who's not, or who's a racist or who's not. Who I say I'm a policy voter. If I ever do decide to get up and vote, which I think this year might be my first year, um, I want to vote on policy. I don't want to vote on emotion. I don't want to vote on just because she's black or I'm for mega. Let's make America. I don't want to vote on that. I want to vote on policy. I want to make sure that my vote actually counts, and I'm voting for something that will benefit my children and myself. you know?
That's the thing for me is, when my son is old enough. I don't know, I just feel like I think people are misled with what the president can and can't do. I hear a lot of people around me talking about Barack ain't never do nothing. Well, he wasn't given an opportunity to do a lot from
Well,
Congress, Senate, and thereafter.
well,
You got to get those bills put on his desk.
but me and Miss Pammy was talking about this the other day when I went live. Everybody complains, but you can do something. You start at your low form
Yes,
of government. You start
right.
in your neighborhoods. You start by going to these assembly people, going to these people that represent your boroughs. In New
Yeah,
York, it's 5 boroughs. We have 5 different representatives plus Yonkers, Staten Island. We have representatives for each borough. If something's going on in your, if something's going on, you have to thing your neighborhood first. You have to take care of home first. National scale, yes. Okay, yeah, it's great. You have to vote on a national scale, but you have to like start at home. If you don't start at home, you
and
know,
that's the problem. A lot of people don't know about their local officials and who they are and who they want to vote for. When I get my mail-in ballot, I get online and I start googling and I start researching. If I ain't never heard your name, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see what your stance is, what your history is, and you know people don't want to take the time to do that research.
yeah, they don't. They
And my
don't.
husband refuses to vote, so I'm like,
And
uh,
and that's and that's the thing. I've been beating myself up because I do a lot of community stuff. Like I'm always, I do event planning. So if anyone ever comes, like you know how you do the community little Halloween parties and the back to school drives, I always try
right,
to involve myself in stuff like that. But I've been beating myself up lately because I have a sitting council member for the borough of Queens, and they're 3 blocks away. Their office is 3 blocks away from us, and you know we complain about certain things. Like right now, our neighborhood is being gentrified really bad. A lot of our old people are not getting the help that they need, and the schools are not getting the funding that they need. And instead of, me just sitting here complaining to my husband, I need to go and complain to that councilwoman that's up the block. I
right,
need to organize and get people together to complain. And not for nothing, I'm not into politics so tough that I would run. But if you want change, you can run too. You know,
right.
it's not that hard for you to run for office. I'm gonna do a little slight plug. I don't know if you guys know this young gentleman. He's from North Carolina. His name is Marcel Dixon. He's an ex school teacher that decided 2 years ago to go up against James Clyburn and run for his Senate seat. And you know, he got the backing, and even though he didn't win, he got enough backing where he's going to try again. Now, I commend that man because he took it upon himself. He said, I was tired of how North Carolina, how things was going. I wanted to change. There wasn't a candidate that fit what I wanted and fit the policies that I liked. So I became that candidate. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think as parents, we should push our kids to go into politics, to go into law and things like that instead of, especially in my community, instead of football and basketball and all these other things, yeah, push them to be politicians and change the world or to be lawyers and help change the justice system because we need to have people on the inside to change. It can't change from the outside in. It has to change from the inside out.
And I think that that's happening more and more, Miss Poppington, from these shootings, because I know a lot of people that were a part of those. Where's the? I keep forgetting the name of the shooting that happened here down in Broward, but there was a mass shooting there, and a lot of those kids came out of that wanting to be in politics. So
Yeah,
that's like motivation for them, so that they can change some of these gun laws and things like that that's been going on. Where we're not doing anything. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
because
just
I'm sorry. Every great movement always starts with the children. Think about
right.
it. I
Yep.
wasn't around when the civil rights movement started, but it was the church and the kids that started protesting first.
Right.
They're the ones that were in the front lines marching and getting sprayed with the water hoses and bit by the dogs. It was the children. So
Right.
if we don't instill certain values into our children, God knows what this world will be like when we're gone. And that's what I'm scared of. That's why I said I'm not really scared for my children. Because God willing, I'll be here to kind of, help them, guide them. But
Yeah.
what about my grandchildren and my great grandchildren? Like when you think about legacy and you think about what, it's hard for us middle and low middle class and low income people to leave a financial legacy. So
That's
what
right.
kind of family legacy do you want to leave for your children? What kind of moral legacy? You know?
Hmm. But they need to be able to feel like what they're going to do is going to make a difference, because it's very, it's frustrating when you don't get the backing or the support, or nobody's really engaged. It's got to be, everybody's got to be on board with doing something. You know, it
And that's
can't
why
just
I
be one
started
person.
this. And that's why I started this channel because it's like I want all areas of ages to come up here. Like I'm gonna try to interview some of my daughter and my son's friends their age to see what they think about it. I want to see what older people think about it because I noticed with our older generation that went through civil rights, um, not for nothing, I feel like they're a little complacent because it's like they got what they wanted already, you know? They're tired of fighting. I fought the fought already. It's because I fought is what got y'all what y'all got now. And I think it takes a whole village. Like I believe in that village thing, regardless of
I think it's that with them attitude. What's in it for me?
yeah,
If they don't see anything in it for them, they're not interested in doing
yeah,
it. And it's a lot
yeah,
of young black men that just don't have that drive, not even to care about voting, even though they can. They're just not interested.
yeah. But then
Unless it's something for in it for them. You gonna give me a check? What you gonna do for me? And it
yeah,
shouldn't be about that. It's about freedoms. We
yeah.
losing
It is.
freedoms.
It is about freedoms, but then on the other hand, it's not about what you do for me selfishly, like for me by myself.
Yes.
It's what you're gonna do for me that's gonna benefit my family, that's gonna
Right.
benefit the people around me, you
Right.
know? And
Yep.
I really think that if a lot of these young black men had a space or had somebody to talk to that could talk to them, not in the politicians jargon, but real life about certain situations and certain reasons why they do need to vote, a lot of them would snap out of it and really come to that conclusion that they do need to vote. A lot of these young kids are very blind to politics. They don't care what's going on. They
They
care about
don't.
what new sneakers are coming out, what Young
Yeah.
Miami is wearing, what's the new drill song. Like they're not
Right.
into that. So I think us as the adults, not even just parents, because like I said, it takes a village. Us as adults need to start like having these conversations with these kids, not to push them to go right or left, but just to inform them on what's going on and let them like have that be a regular conversation besides, oh, little baby came out with a new song or let's do a TikTok. Like
Right.
that should be something that's normalized, that's being talked about with our children.
Well, one thing I do with my child is he's very involved. Like we watch the news together. We talk about different topics and things like that. And I'm like, if you don't make your voice heard and you don't put your 2 cents in, you can't complain when things don't go the way that you want them to
Exactly.
go. So you have to
Exactly.
be able to at least put your 2 cents in, and at least try to contribute to what decisions are being made at your local, state, and government, all the way up, because if you don't, then whenever you don't like when this tax is happening or this is happening, okay, but that's not, you didn't vote, so you shouldn't have nothing to say. Don't complain when things don't go your way, when you don't even, it's like playing the lotto. You can't win the lotto if you don't play.
Yeah, yeah. But then on the flip side with that, I know a lot of people that saying that they're not gonna vote this year. At first I was like, I was on the same thing as you until it was explained to me that um when you're a policy voter, the less of two evil thing doesn't work for you. I guess as a when you're in that mindset as a policy voter. So if both candidates are not giving you policies that you yourself feel like that it's gonna, have an impact on you, your family, the people around you, what's the point of voting? And I kind of get that. It was explained to me a little more in depth, but I kind of get that. That's why I said I'm very um nonpartisan. Like if you decide to stay home, that's cool with me. If you're vote blue no matter who, that's cool with me. You're voting for policy, cool. You're voting for emotion, that's cool. But I do agree that if you do stay home and the person wins that you didn't approve of the most, or whatever, you
Yeah.
don't have any room to complain. At that
Right.
point, what you need to do is now you need to go and take action, like we were saying, from your local level up,
Mm-hmm.
or like I said, run. You don't have a felony, you can run for president. We see that he got indicted and still ran for president. You understand what I'm saying?
They need
if
to
you
change
have
that.
if you have a idea of how you want your neighborhood to be, or how you want your state to be, your district to be, then run,
You know
gather
what?
other people
I
and
just thought
run.
about this, Miss Poppington. I just thought about this. So my husband and I were talking one time, and a lot of his hesitation is because of the electoral college. And he's
Ooh,
saying, well, what does it matter, right? I do the vote, we all vote, the popular vote can win, but if the electoral college votes are not there, then it don't matter what we say.
it-
So, that's a whole concern of mine too, because there's a lot of influence I feel over the electoral college. I mean, I just feel like there's influence
well,
there.
look, Hillary won the popular vote, but the electoral college picked Trump.
Right.
So, I mean, your husband has a point, but then that
Exactly.
makes me go back to my point. If we know that the presidential race is not something that you can like personally affect, then go and affect the races that you can.
Right.
Start off local. And that's gonna be something that on this channel I'm gonna preach about. Like if you want something changed, you can't start from the top. In politics, you have to
No,
start
you
from the bottom
yeah, you
up.
got to start local for
Yes,
sure.
you can start from the top because, like you
Hmm.
said, the president. A lot of people have like a misconception of what the president can and cannot do, and a lot of
Definitely.
things people that feel the president can do, they can't.
Right.
But your senator can, your congressman can, your local commissioner can.
If
You
they
know,
if they pass a bill to him, he can sign it.
yeah.
But, he can't just create it and that be law. I
But
mean, it doesn't work
in
that way.
order for that bill to even go up, the people still have to vote. The
Yeah.
people that you can vote to put in there to
Right.
represent you and your policies, those are the people that have to vote on this bill. So
Right.
vote on the people that you need to vote on this bill. There's a million candidates out there.
Yeah.
Excuse
'Cause I know a lot of people think he should just change the laws for the gun laws and that be that, but it's it's
me.
it's not up to him alone,
Yeah.
you know?
And to be honest, a lot of these states have their own constitutional right to do whatever they
Right.
want with certain laws.
Right.
So, for example, like the whole Roe v. versus Wade, some state, like every state, has their own. They could do whatever they want. They could
Right.
either follow what President Trump said, or they can still do whatever. Because New York, we don't have a problem with the Roe v. versus Wade law. Like that's not an issue here because our governor is pro like
Right.
woman.
Right.
She's a woman, so we don't have that problem.
Right.
So even with certain things like that, if you have a problem in your state with that, you need to handle that with your governor, your senator, before it
Right.
even gets all the way to the president. And
Mm-hmm.
nothing, there's something called a recall. If I'm going to give y'all a little tidbit. So say for instance that somebody gets elected that the whole community, well, a good percentage of the community does not approve of. Their first couple of months, they're not doing what they promised they're supposed to do and anything. You can actually submit a recall to have another election, to redo the election, to get that person out. That's why it's so important for everybody to really look up certain things, like look up certain laws and be knowledgeable about certain things, because there's a lot of things that you can do to fix some of these problems. There's a lot of things that we can do. And like I said, from the local level. Um, everybody, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's just my opinion from me watching everything that's going on. If we really want change, we have to start from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
And we have to, as as people, we have to stop being afraid to step out there and fight for what we want. Because I think that's the problem. That's why there's not enough candidates that agree, like that everybody can agree to. There's a lot of people that have good ideas and have good policies and would be a perfect candidate, but they're just scared. They're scared. They don't know if they're gonna get that back, and they don't know if their community is gonna hold them down. They don't know if they're gonna get that money. And that's why I said, Mr. Marcel Dixon, I commend him because he came in and he pushed what he was pushing for, and he stood 10 toes down. And the people that agreed with his stance, got behind him. And I was one of those people. Me and my husband donated. I don't even live in North Carolina. And just because of his stance on certain policies and what he was trying to do, I we donated to him. We were helping him. I called people in North Carolina for him. Like I volunteered. And it was a lot of people from other states that did it too. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Believe you me, if you feel a certain way, there's a lot of other people that feel the same way you do, that feel that the changes that you want to be changed will be changed. You just got to step out there on a leap of faith and stand 10 toes on what you believe in, and people will flock to you. So, I mean, hey, um, well, I've been on here for an hour and a half already. Thank you for everybody that's been popping in and out. Thank you, Wilson, for coming up. I know, you don't really like talking or anything. If it's any Henny gang in the building, thank you guys for supporting. And we will be back on Wednesday. If I figure out how we could do a watch party with the debate, I'll see if I can do that Tuesday night. But I'm definitely coming back Wednesday with some notes on the whole debate, and hopefully it won't be a issue. Hopefully it'll be a very informative debate, and it'll be about policy and not about all of these irrelevant things that everybody's trying to make the debate about, because I really want to know, like, what's going to go on with our economy, and are we about to go to war? Can we afford to go to war? I didn't even say let y'all know that um, they just passed a law that our sons, if we have World War III, our sons ages 17 to 25 can get drafted into the army. Like what they did the last time they did that, I think was 1920 something, and it'll be a mandatory draft. We didn't even get to talk about that. And being a mother of sons, I need to know certain things like that, because I don't want my son to be pulled into a war and be fighting a war that basically has nothing to do with us here. So it's a lot of things that I'm waiting to hear, to see if the announcer even asks, if they bring it up, what's the explanation, what will be the policies for certain things, and I know a lot of you guys are too. So we're definitely will be back. If not Tuesday for a watch party, Wednesday to definitely talk about what went on with the election. And I will see you guys then. Thank you so much. You know, I'm new to this. I'm not as experienced as a lot of people. Thank you guys for bearing with me and, supporting me. And I love you guys. And I'll see you guys next week, Wednesday, and we'll talk about it. And in the meantime, subscribe to my Instagram. It's Hood Politicking with T. Also, and my Insta story stay lit. I'm always posting about everything, right, left, up, down, front, center, Green Party, the Dems, the Republicans, everything. It's just a little informational hub for anybody that's into, politics or just want to know about certain things that's going on in the world. And like I said, thanks for supporting. Sorry about my voice. I've been sick. I lost my voice like 2 days ago. I've been real sick, but hopefully by Wednesday I'll be not sounding like I'm a man because I am not one. But you know, I sound crazy right now. And thank you guys. Like I said, I love you. And it takes a village. It takes a village, and you always have an opportunity to change your circumstances. You don't have to go to the top. You can start from the bottom, or you could do it yourself. You could jump in the race and put your hat in there. So I mean, food for thought. This was a great conversation. Next time, I want more people to come up. Like, I really want to have a panel of diverse people. If you are a Republican, a Democrat, Green Party, you're 2024 couching it this year. I want to hear from you guys. I really do. So, on that note, I will see you guys on Wednesday. And thank you so much, and good night.